Okay, so our next video, part 3 of restoring the small bedroom. This is going to involve building a little wall at the front where the window is, strip and lime cement all around. We're going to have highlighted bricks on the walls. Introducing my new toy. I just got it from Brico-Marché, €279, but I figured that I've got to do the whole house inside and out, all the pointing, recovering the walls, so and making some concrete floors, so it justified itself. Let's see it in action. It's first time.
Look how happy he looks.
Okay, the mix I'm using is 1 part lime cement to 2.5 parts sand. I'm just adding a little bit of water at a time. That's absolutely perfect doing the job. Already probably saved half an hour of shoveling and mixing by hand, so great job. Okay, so one thing I want to do in this room is put in another wall. So that's just single skin wall up to the window, so it lets in all the heat and in the summer and lets out the heat in the winter. So I've got it about 2.5 bricks wide. I'm going to just try and build it up to the windowsill. First of all, I'm going to chisel the tiles out underneath and try and start with a flat base for the brick in. These tiles are almost indestructible, but it's going to take a little bit of chiselling to get them up. They're certainly very hard. Almost sparks are flying off the end of the chisel. And I did drop a massive piece of concrete on this floor. It did even chip it, so it's going to take me a while to chip this up. So I've chipped a brick worth away of the tiles. Once you get going and under them, they come up quite well. I've just laid down like a bed of cement for the first row of bricks. So I'm just going to try putting those in and getting them level, and then I might just leave that to set before I try the next level up. That's the first layer of bricks, just roughly in. Obviously got to go up to the windowsill level, a few bricks high, or just below that. All these bricks are from Brico-Marché again, and they were 32 cents per brick. When I come to doing the much bigger bricking around the kitchen wall and in the shed side, when I make a double wall, I shall source them from a builder's yard locally. I'm sure they'll be a lot cheaper in bulk. But they're ever so light to pick up, and they're all ridged, so when you come to plaster up it, it'll be quite easy to get a grip into that, I think. So stage 1, I'm going to leave that to dry and then do the next course. Okay, so layer 2's gone in okay. I think I'm only just going to have enough bricks, not quite enough bricks, but I've got other parts of bricks, little bits of bricks around the garden, so I'm going to use those to finish it off with. But I keep just letting it set a bit and then doing another layer. So my little wall's coming along well. Not the traditional layout of bricks, but I've made them fit, and there's not going to be load bearing as such. At the top, I'm going to chip this rock back, this brick back. I'm going to try and make it so there's like 2 feature bricks just below the windowsill. See how that works out. And I'm going to plaster the front of it in the lime cement as well. So just have 2 rocks on it. Just going to see if I can make those fit. So these bricks are very light really, terracotta type material, and you can just chip out to make them into a smaller size. So I'll just continue chipping that out. See if I can get this brick to fit in above. So that's the brick chipped out. I'm going to try and fit this above now. I'm going to fit that there with a couple of rocks going around the outside. I may well be picking different rocks yet. See what fits in the best. So I've selected 2 rocks to go at the top. Filled a load of cement in behind it. And then what I'm going to do is just try and keep cementing up the wall. So I'm layering it in and kind of a plastering method, getting it on the wall. Obviously it's going to be extremely rustic finish, but hopefully if I can just keep cementing upwards, I can get it to the top and make it look a lot neater, and then make a feature of these 2 stones that are at the top of the wall, and will extend the windowsill. Okay, so the method I'm using, I'm just piling cement at the bottom and then scraping it up. It's going pretty well actually, it's quite a nice job to do. I think I'm nearly at this top level, so just keep pushing that up. The lime cement is a lovely texture and it sticks to all these grooves in the side of the rocks, so going pretty well I think. So that's the wall finished for today. There's a couple of gaps around the side and I need to try and maybe smooth it off a bit more. But overall, I'm really pleased how it's gone on. I'll be able to extend that windowsill out, and height with the walls painted, the rocks should be then highlighted. And hopefully that'll look like it's part of the original stone wall, not the red bricks that's really behind it. So leave that to dry for a day, I think, before I continue. So there's my wall after day 1. A few gaps to go around the edge now. I've got some more cement. It's all dried, very firm. A little bit sandy, but I'm just going to rub that down. Try and get this windowsill lined up and blend that in all around the walls. So on with the next load of cement. So I managed to fill in all the edges. They're just about going in okay. Same sort of method, put it at the bottom, push it up, and did it quite runny cement and mix it in with sort of sand as I'm doing it. I'll do the ledge later once those edges have set. I'm just starting now on the wall here, this first side of the wall. I'm just going to start in by pushing in cement to these edges, so tapping them out and then rubbing the cement in. Again, I'm mixing it quite loose and mixing it with some debris that's falling off the walls. I'm just going to try and get that going as a start point all the way up the side. Once we've got the start point, I'm then going to look at what rocks we're going to keep and start by pushing cement up, and we're probably thinking of just leaving 3 or 4 maybe rocks exposed near the door. I've also got to go fill that side in with cement, which we chiselled out, and probably regretted that a little bit. But once we've got a side and a top and a bottom to work from, I think we can quite easily fill that in. So I'm going to leave this now, day 1, on this little bit of wall. So I've done all the edges. Around the door was hard, I threw a lot of cement in there. I eventually got it to stick and to take. So let that all dry. I've gone quite high to the top, but there's a big gap I've got to fill there, but I think that's enough now to build on. I basically tried to fill in all the loose holes throughout. Stones I want to keep, probably this one here, this one, and this one. So the effect we're going for is it all cemented, rough curves and shapes, with the four biggest stones partly showing through the cement, even if it's dipping in. Next stage, I'm going to go on to make this windowsill now, and just tidy up this wall a little bit more, make it a bit smoother. So the windowsill's done. It's just I've used quite wet cement and just run it up to the edge of there. I've left the little hole where the window catch goes. What I did do yesterday, I've touched this up again since, but in a few hours when it's partly dry, just get a wet rag, but I've got a sponge now, I'll get a wet sponge and smooth off that top a little bit more, the windowsill side. The original windowsill is all roughly finished, so it will all blend in anyway, and it'll have a very rustic look, which we quite like, luckily for us. So that's the end of the first day on the walls. As you can see, I've just got this lime cement going into the deep holes, firming it all up and doing the edges. So I'll smooth that off later on. Managed to get this edge done to the top, and just filled in some of the bigger holes over here, just firm that up, and just started going into this wall. Tomorrow we'll finish off putting this first coat of cement over this back wall, get that to a similar position, and then if there's time we may have a go at trying to put a coat on this for a smooth finish with the rocks showing. That's the plan anyway. Okay, start of the next day on the walls. I've mixed up a wheelbarrow full of cement. Quite loose, but as I say, as I put it on, I collect debris and it firms up the cement as I put it up the wall into the holes. It's going okay. Probably takes me 2 hours to put a wheelbarrow full of cement on the wall. A wheelbarrow full is about a quarter of a cement bag mixed with sand. First bucket done. Probably take about half an hour. Just gone along the bottom of this wall. Doesn't really look like I've done much, but I've filled in lots of different holes. Obviously, a bit of a disclaimer here. We don't really know what we're doing. We watched a few YouTube videos. We know the idea is to try and fill in all the deep parts first, try and get something to cement over. But we feel like it's going well. The stuff from yesterday is, rock hard now, and the little wall all seems solid. I think I just might need one more smoothing over coat there. But yeah, we're really pleased with the progress we made so far. Got my guard dog guarding the cement, although it is drying out in the sun. So about an hour or two into the next day, started on this corner, and that's basically 2 bucket loads of lime cement. Going with the same method, very loose mix. As it drops, mixing it with the dry debris and then reapplying. That's going okay. I found a couple of nice stones there on a highlight, and just getting onto one there. There's quite a few lovely big stones up this wall that I'm going to pick out, and again on there. There's the wall from a few days ago. That looks good, it's drying and the windowsill's okay. And the wall I did yesterday is dried out and the stones are showing up nicely. A lot to fill at the top here, but I'm going to start that later and hopefully be looking at putting once I've finished the whole room, get it to a point where it will be one finishing layer to go for the room. So overall, not bad. It's very hard work, but very enjoyable as well. About 3 hours in today, got about just over a third of the way up the wall. I've actually started having a go at plastering on this cement area, and I've basically just put very runny this lime cement on, and just rubbing that into the wall. Seems to be going quite well, and just got to keep going over it and smoothing it off. So I'm going to give that just probably along to about there for now. See how that sets, and then that'll be great for filling in the broken plaster that's around everywhere, if that works out okay. But yeah, we watch videos of people who've done on YouTube, have done literally whole barns and cottages and tiny homes. I can really appreciate it, how many hours they put into this plastering by this method. After a couple of days off, it's back to cementing. I want to try and get the top of this wall, these two walls done today, up to the ceiling with the deep infill. Just using this little water sprayer, I've wet the walls to help it go on better. You can see where it's gone on, it's absolutely rock hard. That little bit's do chip off. I'd like to get it all to at least this level today by the end of the day, and then we can look at doing a finishing level hopefully tomorrow. So that's today's plan, and away we go. So I'm just I've got the cement a little bit thicker today, just filling in these holes, just pushing the cement in. A lot falls off, but it does eventually stick in, and like I say, it sets rock hard, so I should all be just building up this layer ready for filling in. It's a slow, sort of tedious process, but it is actually quite rewarding, and when you see the finished result, hopefully it'll all be worth it. So that's bucket 2 finished. It's taken just over an hour. I know that because I'm normally listening to either Radio 2 on the iPlayer, or this time I just listened to Bob Harris Country Show, which is an hour long. It's just finished. So thanks for motivating me, Bob. Now it's time for a tea break. So that's the top of the walls filled in as best I can for now. I need to let that dry and build some more layers. I've also started on this curve of the wall going down there, just getting that plaster level. Just done a little bit more plastering along that wall. That first section has gone really well. Okay. Maybe one final really thin coat and a wet sponge on it again. Getting into the corners is hard, but I managed to get a line going down both the corners, apart from around there, but I'm going to revisit that as a lot of filling in. And this section here was quite a deep hole, so let that run for a while. And what I'm going to start now is trying to finish this section of wall next to the door. So I'm going to be putting on a very thin layer and then smoothing it over with a sponge. See how that turns out. The rocks have got exposed, keeping those, need to clean up. On this main wall, I've left quite a lot of rocks in. Some will be disappearing as I put the next layer on, but at the moment got quite a few options. So on to the next stage. So I've given that an hour or so. I'm just going to give it a first sort of wet over with the top, smoothing it out. Obviously it's not a flat wall at all, but I want to get all the, make the cement as smooth as possible. I'll give this a wipe, and then I'm going to go around the stones properly now, and then give it another wipe in another hour, just to try and get a uniform finish on it. But it's getting some of the lines out of it now, making it look better. I am wearing a glove because this lime cement, I already couldn't open my phone with my fingerprint after using it a little while. So when I'm getting wet or touching the cement, I'm wearing a latex glove just for protection. Start of day 6 or 7, I think now. Cemented this wall. I did give it another wipe over with a wet sponge after it was about 2 or 3 hours dry, and that's made it quite smooth. Going onto this wall, and today I'm going to try and get to that stage for the rest of the walls. So probably going to be all day on this, but hopefully we can get it somewhere near cemented. And I need to go around this damaged plaster and try and repair that in, and look at those cracks up there. So carrying on. So I've almost used a wheelbarrow full of cement and just about got to halfway round the walls going upwards. You can see the stones I'm leaving behind at the moment. I've got it quite a smooth finish. I will go over that with a rag or a sponge later on. But I'm going to mix another load up and try and get to the top. I've tried to fill in that gap a little bit there, so hopefully that'll set quite quickly. I'd like to keep that stone in the top, but I'm not sure because I do want to make it completely sealed. If not, just to keep spiders out. Even when I was mixing cement today, a giant spider appeared in the cement. So they are around here, and I want to keep this as spider-proof as possible. So I've filled in all this wall. They're the big blocks that survived after cementing. All went pretty well. It took about 5 hours to do that. I think all in all, I'm about 30 hours of cementing so far. Maybe not quite that much, but getting on for that much. And now I'm going to finish this plastering around here. So far, I've used 2.5 bags of lime cement, which costs $5.99 a bag. Standard cement is only about €2 a bag, so the lime cement is a lot more expensive, but hopefully it'll do the job of keeping out the damp, and it's nice knowing that the wall will be covered in lime. So onwards with the plastering. Plastering done. I'll let that dry and wipe that over with a wet sponge later on. Almost a disaster, dropped a trowel full of wet cement straight in my extension lead. Luckily it didn't trip the electric, but I quickly unplugged it. So almost a problem, got away with it. So next day on the cemented walls, they've come up quite well. Give them a good wash with a damp rag. I've still got to do a bit of filling up there of cement at the tops and a bit of smoothing over. They're starting to dry out. I think they're going to take a little while to dry fully. And I've tried cleaning up the tiles. I bought some Removex, getting the cement off, which is about €4. And a little attachment for the drill to scrub that out. So I think it's a kind of acid. Put on there, they're starting to come out really nice. Just really now, today, I'm going to spend the rest of the day finishing off the cement. The plaster around the wall all looks pretty good, still drying out. Going to give it a light sanding as well. So rubbed it over with a wet sponge when it was partly dry after about 3 or 4 hours. I'm just going to sand over that today with a sander. And fill in the rest of the cement, clean up the rocks a little bit, and hopefully then it'll be ready for its coat of paint. So I've just put a layer of lime mortar around the top of the concrete plinth that goes around the room. I'm going to leave it all to dry now. I think we're going to give it a few days to dry before we paint. So in the next video will be the new floor and the painted walls. Thanks everybody for watching, really appreciate it. A really big obrigado from Portugal.